shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Showers and thunderstorms this morning, mainly for our northern counties, but later today, we'll see another round with a cold front. I'll show you the timeline.
Also new this morning, the first images of black boxes recovered from both aircraft involved in the mid-air collision in Washington, D.C., where the recovery mission stands this morning.
And Battle of the Blues, the preparations underway for one of college basketball's biggest rivalries to compete this weekend. Duke versus UNC, and we know every year, no matter their records, no matter the rankings, it is going to be a big game. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30 on your Friday, and welcome to it. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your routine here. We're going to keep the Friday feels. We're going to throw out the records for the Battle of the Blues coming up
Our weather records, too, right?
I know, right? And we do have some showers passing to our north. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. There's some wet roads out there, too.
There are, and there were some rumbles of thunder, too. Most of this is now heading to the north and to the east. We're going to start to dry things out, but it is wet here around the triangle, and you're going to still run into some rain in the next few hours up north near the Virginia line. So it's a 20 to 30% chance this morning, and then as we get through the afternoon, we'll actually see a little bit of sunshine. But then during the evening hours, we're going to see a cold front come through. That's going to bring some heavy rain across the area and some very windy conditions, some rumbles of thunder. So if you're planning to be out tonight, that's when it's going to have the biggest impact. This is a look at the courthouse there in Lewisburg, and you can see the streets are wet. The farther north you go, the more rain you'll see this morning. 50 degrees, so it's much warmer than it was yesterday. We have a very windy afternoon in our forecast, winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour with a near record high of 75.
We have breaking news we're following this morning in Raleigh. Around 2:30, a pedestrian was hit by a car on Western Boulevard. This happened right near the intersection with Kent Road. We know a man was hit and taken to the hospital. He is expected to live. No charges are expected. We're working to learn what might have led to that crash.
This morning, recovery crews in D.C. are looking for the remaining 14 bodies of victims from the mid-air collision Wednesday night. In total, 67 people died in the crash. D.C. Fire and EMS say divers will work with the NTSB today to begin operations to salvage the American Airlines jet and the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. The NTSB says it hopes to release a preliminary report within 30 days.
New this morning, for the first time, we are seeing the black boxes recovered from both the jet and the helicopter. The flight recorders are now being evaluated at the National Transportation Safety Board lab. The NTSB investigation is just beginning and will look at a range of potential causes of that collision.
Also today, American Airlines will resume flights from Wichita, Kansas to Reagan National. WRAL's Destiny Patterson joins us live from RDU International this morning. And Destiny, what are people saying about flying?
Well, it's very much business as usual here at RDU. I want you to take a look behind me. You can see people who are milling about here in Terminal 2, and there aren't very many lines here, which is good for people who are trying to come through this area here. But more than 24 hours after that plane crash, the American Airlines flight from Wichita to D.C. is expected to resume today, as you mentioned. That airline confirmed it to CNN. The American Airlines flight to D.C. had just started less than a month before that crash happened. Travelers to RDU say the crash hits close to home.
I travel for work quite a bit, and you think, okay, I'm just hopping on another flight, no big deal, see you guys in a couple of days, and it reminds you, especially when it's so close to home, you know, things can happen at a drop of a hat, and I know I'm going to hug my loved ones a lot closer tonight, just knowing you just never know what's going to happen.
Taking a look here at the board at RDU, we're not showing any cancellations or even any delays. Again, so that is good news for people who are traveling here. RDU, though, they did express their sympathies to both the airports as well as the U.S. Army. We're going to continue to talk to travelers who are making their way in and out of RDU, and we'll bring it to you here once we finish talking with those people. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live at RDU.
This morning, we have learned another flight approaching Reagan National the day before that mid-air collision had a close call with a helicopter. According to air traffic control, the flight was forced to abort its first landing attempt on Tuesday after a helicopter flew near its flight path. Incident reports show in the last 3 years, at least 2 other pilots reported near misses with helicopters while landing at the airport.
The crew on that flight was based here in North Carolina. Here's a look at the captain, pilot, and 2 flight attendants who lost their lives. And this morning, we're hearing from the family of Sam Lilly, the pilot, who was just 28 years old. Lilly's dad shared photos of his son on social media, saying it was so devastating to lose someone who was loved so much. His sister speaking about her brother's love of the job after finishing flight school.
My dad helped him go to flight school, and then he worked really hard on that. It was a lot tougher than he thought it was going to be, but he pursued and kicked butt through it, and then he loved what he did.
Lilly's family says he was going to be married this fall.
Also, Renee, 14 members of the U.S. figure skating community died in the D.C. plane crash, including 6 from a club in Boston. They include Spencer Lane and 13-year-old Jenna Hahn. They were in Wichita for a developmental camp. Their mothers were also on the plane. Their coaches were 1994 world champions Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov. They were traveling with the team as well.
I really can't believe that it happened, because I picture them right here. The coaches always stood at that entrance. The skaters just flew all over the ice, doing remarkable things, inspiring all of us.
And they were all attending that U.S. Figure Skating Championship in Wichita last weekend. At the arena where that competition was held, a mourner left a message on the ice. 5432, the flight number of that plane.
People in Wichita, Kansas are remembering the victims of the crash. City Hall hosted a prayer service for people to come together and grieve.
We will get through this, but the only way that we will get through this is together as one.
Speakers called on everyone to pray for the people who lost their lives. Pastor Pamela Hughes Mason, who you just heard there, says the city's arms are extended in unlimited compassion, care, and love.
Hey, Renee, just giving a live look this morning out at Washington Reagan National here. As you see, it's pretty occupied. People obviously still moving this morning. A lot of travelers likely wondering still how exactly that crash happened here. And that's something that the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that he is going to work to get to the bottom of. In this X post that he shared overnight, he mentioned that, quote, "I met with some of the families who lost their loved ones in the plane and helicopter crash last night. Their pain is immeasurable. I can't take away their pain, but I can do a very small part to help ease it by keeping my promise to get to the bottom of what happened and be 100% transparent about that situation." Now, one of the things he also noted was that it was his first full day on the job, so obviously he definitely has his work cut out for him. But again, Secretary Duffy being very clear that he is dedicated to trying to get answers for people.
After extending condolences to the families of those lost in the tragedy, President Trump brought politics into the discussion, suggesting without evidence that Democratic DEI policies at the FAA and military, which President Trump ended last week with an executive order, may have contributed to the mid-air collision.
And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program.
The American Association of People with Disabilities was quick to respond. In a statement, they say FAA employees with disabilities did not cause last night's tragic plane crash. It is extremely inappropriate for the president to use this tragedy to push an anti-diversity hiring agenda. Doing so makes all Americans less safe, the group said. We are staying on top of this story throughout the day on TV and online. Download the WRAL News app to get those alerts sent straight to your phone. And for any other sound and video that you may have missed from this story, you can check out our YouTube page at WRAL 5.
Confirmation hearings for President Donald Trump's cabinet are moving forward at the U.S. Capitol, where you're looking live right now. Health and Human Services Secretary nominee Robert F. Kennedy Jr., FBI Director nominee Kash Patel, and National Intelligence Director nominee Tulsi Gabbard all faced Senate committee hearings yesterday. Each sought to clarify or downplay past stances that have criticized that the department they've been chosen to lead. Kennedy pushed back on remarks that he is anti-vaccine, saying he is simply asking for awareness and investigation. One of college basketball's biggest rivalries hits the court tomorrow night. It is the Battle of the Blues. The UNC Tar Heels travel to Cameron Indoor Stadium to play the second-ranked Duke Blue Devils. Tip-off is at 6:30.
WRAL has you covered all the way up and down Tobacco Road before and after the game. Look for live reports from Durham and Chapel Hill beginning on our 6 o'clock news tomorrow night. And tune in to WRAL News Plus as soon as the game ends for live reports from our crews out there. You can find WRAL News Plus on Channel 34 over the air, Spectrum Channel 1257, or on the WRAL app.
Explosion caught on camera. The close call for 2 sanitation workers in Ohio. We'll tell you what was thrown away that caused the blast.
All right. Responding to allegations, the accusations against Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker over inappropriate behavior during massage therapy sessions.
And we'll give you a live look at Franklinton. Good morning to the folks there. You may run into some rain this morning. I know I did driving into work. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will break down what you can expect this weekend.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:44, and today we're going to end up with some rain in the morning in the north and then some thunderstorms this evening. 50 degrees right now in Durham, Raleigh, and Fayetteville. 49 in Fayetteville. We are cloudy this morning, and it is wet in places. We have the top of the tower lit in green for some showers this morning in our northern counties. We are going to end up with some thunderstorms once we get past sunset tonight. 46 in South Hill, 50 in Tarboro, 49 in Fayetteville. So it is a good bit warmer than it was this time yesterday. If you're in the northern counties near the Virginia line, you may have to send the kids out with their raincoats or umbrellas. Otherwise, you won't really have to worry about it. We're not going to see any more rain around the triangle until farther along into the evening. Our highs this afternoon will be close to records. I'll show you how close coming up.
Reagan National in D.C. is a very busy airport. RDU can get packed as well, and we have been speaking with local pilots about the challenges of keeping an eye on other aircraft while in the air. Video from Sky 5 shows what the approach looks like for helicopters at RDU. You can see the planes taxiing on the ground. We talked to the director of the University of Mount Olive's flight school about what it's like approaching a busy airport like this.
You have to stay vigilant of the aircraft around you, especially with parallel runways where you might be landing. There's a airplane beside of you landing also.
The pilots WRAL spoke with emphasized their experiences with air traffic control have been positive, and that it's on every crew in every aircraft to communicate to keep everyone safe.
An investigation is underway in Scotland Neck after police say 2 children were shot. This happened on Poplar Street. WRAL's breaking news tracker went to the scene last night, but neighbors did not want to speak about the situation. Police say it seems the shooting was accidental and there is no ongoing threat. Police also said both children were conscious when emergency responders arrived. Firefighters are making progress on wildfires in McDowell County, western North Carolina. 3 wildfires are burning in that county. The Crooked Creek fire has burned nearly 250 acres and is 55% contained. Winds decreased and the humidity has increased, helping firefighters make progress. The North Fork fire is smaller, about 60 acres, and is 0% contained. No one has been injured in either fire, and only 1 home has been damaged.
Buncombe County is one of the hardest hit areas by Helene. It has launched a site dedicated to the recovery efforts. It serves as one place for the community to go to learn about progress and rebuilding efforts since the storm, and also to find resources. You'll find it at engage.buncombecounty.org.
Sanitation workers in Ohio walked away uninjured after an explosion in the back of their truck. Take a look at this. One of the workers had just emptied that trash can into the back of the truck when you see it exploding there. Police say the sound of the blast was so loud that it set off the city's gunshot notification system. The city says an oxygen tank that was illegally dumped into a trash can is to blame for the explosion. Glad the worker's okay.
Man, that is something. The death of a Fort Liberty paratrooper is under investigation this morning. Officials say specialist Fama Vega Tanialo was taken to the hospital Wednesday, where he later died. He was a soldier with the 82nd Airborne Division. A commander with the Artillery Brigade said Tanialo was an exceptional paratrooper, a great teammate, and an outstanding young man. He made us all better.
Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker is denying accusations of sexual misconduct by 6 massage therapists. The unnamed sources claim the 35-year-old NFL star acted inappropriately during treatments at 4 different businesses. The alleged events happened between 2012 and 2016. Posting on social media yesterday, Tucker called the allegations unequivocally false.
Former North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has been confirmed as Interior Secretary. The Senate confirmed him for the role late last night. President Donald Trump tapped Burgum to spearhead the administration's ambitions to boost fossil fuel production. The wealthy software industry entrepreneur previously served 2 terms as governor of North Dakota, which is an oil-rich state. And he also launched a presidential campaign in 2023. He dropped out months later and quickly endorsed Trump.
It is 4:49, and Elizabeth, I was just letting you know that when I was driving into work, I just saw the sky light up with lightning all over, and it just, rattled me a little bit.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something you expect in January, but it definitely happens. It's even more likely this evening when we have the thunderstorms come through, lightning, and some loud sounds, and it's likely to be during the evening. We're going to walk through the timeline. Here's what's happening right now. Just a couple of light showers in our northern counties here. It's a little heavier as you get on up into Virginia. A little bit of thunder and lightning potentially left there. We'll zoom in. So Roxborough, Henderson, Roanoke Rapids, South Hill, Clarksville, all likely to see some rain from the next couple of hours. Here's Futurecast this morning, and we'll roll it through. By 6 a.m., most of this has lifted northward. By 8 o'clock, it's even out of Mecklenburg County, Virginia. It will be mainly cloudy. We'll likely end up with some sunshine that tries to break through around the mid to latter part of the afternoon. That's really going to heat things up. At 5 o'clock, things should be fairly quiet. The rain doesn't really move in until closer to the middle of the evenings. There's 9 o'clock. You can see rain in Raleigh, Durham, South Hill, Southern Pines. And then it's out of here by around 3 a.m. and we start to see some clearing. We'll have some slightly cooler temperatures behind this for the weekend. So it's a cloudy start for us this morning. Some rain in the northern counties during the morning commute, at least for the next couple of hours. And then mostly cloudy, windy, and warm through the afternoon. Winds are going to be gusting up to 30 or 40 miles per hour this afternoon. And our high temperatures will be in the mid 70s. And then during the evening and overnight, we'll end up with some rain, heavy at times, with some scattered storms. It is wet right now in Franklinton, as you can see, as we look down through the main street there. 50 degrees is our current temperature around the Triangle, and our temperatures range from the mid 40s to mid 50s. Around town today, looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Again, we're close to record highs. The wind is going to be an issue. It's not terribly breezy this morning, but winds will be, winds will be gusting 20, 25, and then up to 30 to 40 in some isolated areas. It's a little cooler behind the front, temperature 63 on Saturday, 55 for Groundhog Day, but some more 70s in the forecast for next week.
Elizabeth, thanks for that. Appreciation for first responders. How the Los Angeles Dodgers are now helping out firefighters in LA.
Being stranded in space got a little more fun. We'll show you the first spacewalk performed by astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore.